So hello guys and welcome back to another live stream in our video, and it's been quite a while since we actually managed to do a live stream, but today we've actually gotten the opportunity to actually go on live to try and talk about Chelsea's emphatic victory against Wrexham. And when you look at the scoreline, what does the scoreline actually say? The scoreline talks about more of Chelsea. If you look at the scoreline, you'd probably think that Chelsea was so dominant in the game. But quite the contrary. When you look at the statistics, when you look at how the game went, when you use the eye test, you see glaring issues. And I'd really want to talk about the lineup first of all. I really have to talk about the lineup. I do think that Liam Rosinia went in with a very conservative lineup. When it came to actually having attacking players on the pitch, when it came to having players who can actually effect changes into the game, I think Rosinia went with too many defenders, and these too many defenders, it even became to some point that Joshua Chimpong and was actually being the one being used kind of like a right winger, and that is not quite his best position. And you're having Lavia, you're having Santos, you're having three center backs, and then so what is happening is that you do find that whenever even Chelsea have the opportunity to actually progress with the ball in the attack, the final ball is not quite there, because the players who are actually supposed to play and actually come in for the first team in that attacking lineup are not there. So this is giving us some glaring issues, that we have too many defenders in the team, and these too many defenders require too much time. They require game time to actually be they need to be given game time, and giving them game time is actually costing the team. So this is clearly showing a strong imbalance when it comes to the squad. It shows two things. It shows that Chelsea have not created a squad that can actually look to try and get the balance between attack and defense. They have so many defenders than attackers, and it's actually showcasing itself. So if you're watching us, tell us if your audio is okay, where you're watching us from. And this is a live stream. A live stream is an interactive discussion. It's been a while since we did one, but it's supposed to be interactive. So let's have a bit of interaction. Thank you very much. No contest, and we really hope that we also continue to share build that community, especially in this live. So the lineup by itself showcased one thing, and that thing is that Chelsea really lack a depth when it comes to the attack, because whenever you take Chelsea's key attacking players, you realize that Chelsea lack a huge amount of depth when it comes to actually bringing on attacking players who can contribute. You saw Liam Delap. I have to talk about Liam Delap. Liam Delap is suffering because either the first half where Joao, where we saw like this, the first half looked like those stale Maresca game when Maresca was facing low blocks, and it was sideways, backward, left, right, and then it is that situation where you have Garnacho and you have Garnacho and Neto being the ones in the wide areas, and Neto now has to pick this ball in the wide areas and look to cut in and jump it. And Neto is so poor at this. Garnacho gets the ball again. Garnacho cannot beat his man. He has to get the ball and play the ball backwards, and it looked so stale. And whenever you even look at the equalizing goal, it wasn't like Chelsea were doing anything to open up Wrexham. It was more of Wrexham making the mistake and Chelsea actually getting the equalizer. And then you could see the same problems that we've always been saying. There are some players in this team that actually cannot, that can actually not take this team forward. I am starting to believe it, that Tosin and Beno Badiashile need to be moved on in the summer. These are players that cannot take this team forward. Look at the first goal. You have one attacking player then you have two center backs. That is a 2v1 situation. And when you have a 2v1 situation, always when you're defending, you always looking for a situation where you always have an extra man when you're defending. So in that kind of scenario where you have an extra man while you're defending, it is a 2v1 situation. Therefore, as defenders, you have to agree. One defender, if this is the attacker, let me just use this pen. If this is the attacker and these two are the defenders, one defender stands in front, tries to win that aerial duel, while the other moves back so that he can cover this ground. Now, what happened is that this was the attacker here, and then this was Tosin and Benoit. So when the ball was played over the top, this attacker is able to run and beat them. And you could see that is lack of communication. Those are the key tenants, the key basics of actually defending. When you're looking to defend and you have one attacker, if one center back is stepping forward to win the aerial duel, then the other center back steps behind, so that whenever this ball is played over the top, you are able to contain the situation. Or alternatively, if the ball is about to be played over the top and you want to play an offside trap, then you're supposed to anticipate whoever is playing that ball in the other side and actually move forward so that you are able to play that offside trap. But if you're not able to move and play that offside trap, that is when you find yourself in that situation where you cannot control the situation where this other player is able to get the ball, run with the ball, and play the ball over the top. And those are some of the issues and problems that Chelsea have had. And these are just childish dynamics when it comes to defending. You have to know how you position yourself when it comes to actually defending the football. If you cannot know how to defend, to position yourself when you're defending the football, you have no business playing in the higher positions of the top level of football, because you are getting the basics wrong. The other thing I have to say is that when you look at the statistics, you see that Wrexham had 17 shots, 6 shots on target. Chelsea had 18 shots and 7 shots on target. So in a balanced game, this would have either been a 3-3 or a 2-2. And it was actually going into a 3-3. It's just lucky that the VAR has saved us. Chelsea have a glaring issue when it comes to set pieces. Thank you very much from Kenya. Thank you very much. And if you're watching us and you leave a note, leave a hi, leave a how are you, just make a comment so that we are able to interact with a lot of you. So this is what I was trying to say. Chelsea have a glaring issues when it comes to set pieces. Set pieces are what made Chelsea drop points against Arsenal. Set pieces is what made Chelsea drop points against Burnley. And set pieces have always been a problem for Chelsea. Chelsea have a really big problem when it comes to set piece. The set piece issue has to be addressed. Yes. 4 goals again. 4 goals again. But again, when you look at the scoreline, when you look at the 4-2 scoreline, it might give you a different picture from how the game was, because I do think that Wrexham were very good in the game. They were bullying us, they were muscling us, they were getting the ball, and they were countering rapidly. And it showcased another underbelly that Chelsea have. I've always said that midfield position, the way in which Rossinia is structuring it, he needs to know that if he's going to press, he needs to have an extra player in that midfield as a whole, looking to try and get the ball. I always saw Wrexham getting the ball, playing the ball in midfield, and being able to shift the ball from left to right through midfield, through the heart of midfield. And that is the same thing that we also saw when Aston Villa scored their first goal. The issue of pressing, the issue and the way in which Chelsea press is creating problems. And I have to do a video on that. The issue of the way Chelsea are pressing is creating a problem. You're pushing so many players forward to press. There's no problem. But even if you're doing that, at least ensure that there's somebody in midfield who stops any loose balls that come from that position. Tyrone, thank you very much for the well thought out analysis. Tosin is too slow and ineffective from my liking. Thank you very much. Thank you very much from Lagos, Nigeria. I do understand. It's good to hear from you, Rosalind. Thank you very much for your comment on that. Yes, guys, it is the live stream is there for people to actually leave their comments there so that we are able to interact. If you have a question, if you have a comment on how you might think the game actually went and we have not talked about it, please leave your comment there. Leave your comment there. And let me just talk about the goals. The first goal, it was a bit clumsy, but it is a goal. The second goal was also quite interesting. Josh, in the 82nd minute, listen here, we were 1-1. We were just dilly-dallying. And this is one problem that I've found Chelsea having recently this season, where Chelsea have to concede early so that they can be able to pull up their socks and try to win. If Chelsea do not concede early, they are not able to try to win the game. So if we are 2-0 up, we take the wheels off the game. But if we are 1-0 down, we are now playing more effective. We are now pushing the ball. We are now applying pressure. Look at when we went 2-1 down. They started to play like that is the way they were supposed to play from the first minute. But they were not doing that. Then Josh gets the equalizer, and we have an opportunity to actually go to end the game in 90 minutes. Then Joao Pedro gets this lovely chance, which he actually later blows away. He hits the bar, and Chelsea can't do anything about that. But you do see that there is an issue. Just a minute. You could see that there is an issue over there. Then I really want to talk about now the third goal. The third goal, Alejandro Garnacho, that was a very good goal. Well-timed run, far post run, entered into that far post, scored that goal. Fantastic. Then Joao Pedro actually makes the dagger. But I've said, when you look at the game, that's why I've always said that when you look at the scoreline might say something different. It's just like in one game you might win 1-0 and you're like, if you look at the scoreline, you'll be like, Chelsea might have played poorly. That's why we won one. That's why they won 1-0, and you might disparage the game. But you might actually find that in that game, Chelsea created more chances. Is that you are not able to convert those chances? But in this game, Chelsea have scored 4-2, but they are really, really huge, glaring questions. Let me just introduce Mr. Christian here to say something. So, hello, Christian. How are you?
Good evening.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Muted.
Could you hear me? Good evening.
Okay, you can continue. Let me get my earpods.
AirPods.
Can just continue.
So I watched the game like you, and basically it feels like a loss. We won the game, but it feels like a loss because those guys, they first of all the team selection, the lineup, it was a joke. That was like the Chelsea C team, not even B team, Chelsea C team, and there was no midfield. Those guys were just running straight through Chelsea's deep. I know everyone blames Tosin and Badia Shil and all that, but the midfield was non-existent. How can you let them have all those shots on target? And it was basically they had no energy. They had no. It's almost like their mind was somewhere else. I don't know if it was PSG game or what have you, but they weren't there. They were there physically, but the spiritually they weren't in that game. And maybe they underestimated this Wrexham team. They just thought they'd just show up and go through the motions, pay 80% or 70% and you beat them. Yes, and Wrexham wasn't that good, but we made them look good. Defensively, Wrexham was pretty bang average. But the attacking, hey, I have to give them their flowers. They tested Sanchez, and Sanchez was terrible today, of course. But that young guy, you wrote in the chat, that young guy who came in as a sub, the Chelsea guy there, I don't know his name, the one with the funny hairstyle, he was absolutely horrendous. I don't think he'll ever play again, that boy. He was just, they threw him to the wolves, and he flopped badly. So he's spent his chances. But the one highlight for me was I've been going on about this for the longest of times, that Chelsea good players, we play nice football, blah blah blah, but we lack physicality, we lack stamina, we lack that shithousery. And this is what I saw from Achimpong, that goal there. The goal in itself wasn't the way he scored, but it's the way he physically bullied the defender there. He physically used his strength, his body, that physicality there. That willpower, that will to win, that will to score, and this is what I lack in the normal Chelsea team. That if they can get that into their game, plus obviously we have very creative ideas, attacking, all that. But if we can get that physicality into the Chelsea game and into the Chelsea team, then there's a team brewing. But not before then, because normally we have a pretty lightweight. We get easily bullied off set pieces, and we're a bit weak in that department there. So I'm looking. So that was one highlight. Amongst low lights. One highlight amongst low lights.
I don't know if it is from your end or is it from my end.
No, I'm just quiet. I have stopped talking a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, I was listening to whatever you're saying. Let me just say this, that I'm realizing that we are so spineless. We are easily outmuscled. If a team decides to turn up the volume in the game, if they decide to turn up the tempo, I think Chelsea cannot cope up. This was a do you remember, there was a time before they scored that disallowed goal where they were having us for breakfast, and they were the ones who were 10 men. That's what I was saying. When you look at the scoreline shows you something that is totally different from what we watched. This game would have gone either way in the extra time. Even after they went a man down, it could still go either way. That's how bad it was.
It feels like a defeat. Even though we won, it feels like a defeat.
And I have kept on saying that we need to get a new set piece coach. I don't know if the set piece issue is a player issue. I think to some extent we are really underestimating the situation where we don't have a dominant center back. We have like 50 center backs in that dressing room, but we still don't have. We are still here like we don't have a center back.
Yeah, but the question is, are they playing in set pieces? Are they playing man marking or are they playing zone? That is the question you're going to ask yourself, because if playing zone is out of date, and this is why we get so exposed. The man marking is completely different. So I don't know what the system they're playing in the defending set pieces.
I have tried to check it, what Bernardo Cueva is trying to do, and I think we need to get a good set piece coach now. But anyway, you also find a situation whereby, yes, they might take the nice positions, but when it comes to actually the execution of the set piece, you still find that they are not stepping up.
So you're talking about the attacking. I'm talking about more the defending set pieces. This is where we're really terrible.
I'm saying about defending, even attacking set pieces. Rhys James is very pathetic in the way he brings the ball in.
Yeah.
I've kept on saying it. He always hits the ball closer to the near post. Like this is the goal. He will try to attempt to hit the ball here. Either he's trying to get the person who's here to flick the ball to the back post, but he always hits it here. So it becomes the angle of, if you place the ball in the middle lane, this person can head. If you place the ball in the middle here, then this person can score here, can score here. But if you are only placing the ball here, it means that this person can only attempt to score in the near post. He can't score the other side.
Yeah, because we don't have the side.
So we have very bad set pieces. And I've always said this, because we will always concede in set pieces. I suggested this. I think Maresca tried this and it worked. Put your attacking players forward. That is the same thing I expected them to do against Arsenal. Whenever Arsenal have a set piece, you take Joao Pedro. No, Joao Pedro is good at defending set pieces. You take a player like Palmer, you take Garnacho, you take You even take Malo Gusto because he's literally useless when it comes to helping us in defending set pieces. Then you place them forward. You tell them, you stay in that halfway line. Now, that is going to make Arsenal make a decision. They're going to either drop Gabriel or drop Rice. That is what we did in the first time. And again, there's no problem in taking that risk because even if we have them in the box, we still concede.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't make any difference. How about just concede when you've tried that?
That is exactly. But
it's a very big problem. Remember, we lost.
I saw when Maresca did that the one game, I saw other teams start copying. This is copycat league. Maresca did the one game, I just saw straight away the game afterwards. Teams were playing Arsenal. They started doing the same tactics. Suddenly they stopped. They went back again to traditional. You need to be quite brave to play that system that you're saying with the corners. Keep three players up. It takes a lot of courage, but as you say, if you're going to concede a goal anyway, because you're so used to a set piece, then why not gamble? Play that game they way. We keep three players forward, and so they force them not to have so many players.
See, one thing I noticed. In that set piece routine is that when we did it, Arsenal actually asked Saliba to go behind. Arsenal asked Timber to remain behind. And remember, Timber is also that player who likes to score those set pieces. So that's why I was saying that you just do it. If something works, do it, because this is something that needs to be told. We have become so spineless as a team. We are so terrible when it comes to set pieces, and we are so terrible even through long throws. Even long throws to us are like penalties against us. Because how many points have we dropped from long throws? The Brentford game. I think there's even another game we dropped points because of long throws. Was it Newcastle? We're so pathetic even when it comes to long throws. So that's why I was saying that this guy who's called No Context is probably made. You see this guy called No Contest here.
But if you look at, so you talk about set pieces. If you look at, go and have a look at Arsenal when they set pieces. Watch what they do. Rugby, they're grabbing people's shirts. They're wrestling. They are just getting into your face. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea, hey, we're behaving like choir boys. Hey, standing at attention. Hey, obeying the laws. Whatever. The other teams, they don't care. They rough it up. They bully you. Chelsea, we just know nice boys. Hey, well behaved. Hey, we follow the law. No, you need shithousery. You need physicality. You need to, you need to get into the mix. Don't be scared to get your shirt dirty, your shirt torn, your hair pulled, what have you. Because if you don't, those guys are going to bully you. And this is why we concede so many of these goals at set pieces, especially corners, is because we're too nice, we're too soft.
I do reckon this set piece issue can be corrected by an experienced centre back, but I don't know if the problem now is we don't have Roman Abramovich, because Roman Abramovich will be like, go get Bastoni. You see, I likened it to the time when we had Frank Lampard. There's this 2019 season before Thiago Silva came. We had this issue in set piece. We were so weak in set pieces. And then that coupled with Kepa, who's not a goalkeeper who comes to claim crosses. Remember, as much as we've been so bad in set pieces, the only person who has been rescuing us from set pieces has been Sanchez. That's one thing that people cannot see. Sanchez is the one who made some wild saves, or sometimes he would step out and claim crosses from set pieces. And now teams have realized that if you stop Sanchez, the other guys are clowns. Tosin, he can even be as tall as the Eiffel Tower, but he can never win an aerial duel.
Nope. He's slow in movement. He's slow in his thought process. He's slow in everything. He's just, I don't know.
Slow IQ.
No, I don't know about that, but no, I didn't say that. But I said he's just slow in his physical movement.
I'm saying in terms of football. I'm
That
saying
is,
in terms of footballing. You
those are your
see,
words, those are your words, not mine. Don't throw me under that bus. But he's just slow. This is the internet. So he's slow because he's tall and his movements are challenged. And I don't know if he's not that old, so you can't use age as an excuse. And but it's just maybe this game is a bit too fast for him at this level. Maybe the championship that guy would be excellent, but the Premier League maybe
or
is
in
yes.
league, or he can play well in the Syria.
Syria, that's
He
right,
needs a
that's right.
league.
Bundesliga,
He needs a. He can't do it in the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga teams counter in a very rapid situation. Teams move the ball very fast.
yeah, but the strikers aren't as good as Premier League. So that is, he'll do somewhere where you say the slower, he will do very well. But in the Premier League, that's mad tempo, mad pace they play at. That is just, but they keep the managers, Maresca, the PE teacher, they like him for whatever reason. They keep choosing, they keep playing him, and that is with all the defenders we have. We had starting 11 with 7 defenders on the pitch. Surely you really also need Tossen on the pitch as well. But they all seem to like him, so he must be very, very favoured for whatever reason. He must be very liked in the club.
Because he's Palmer's friend. So when you keep him, you make Palmer happy. But yeah, but one thing I'd like to see against PSG is that just start the same lineup you started with it in the Club World Cup. That's what I can tell Rosinha. Just play a lineup of Sanchez. Do not play Jorgensen in that PSG game.
I would rather
Play
play
Sanchez.
Jorgensen. Play Jorgensen.
One thing I've realized. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say anything. I'm listening.
I'm saying one thing I've realized about Sanchez is that the minute he realizes that his place is in contention, that is when he starts to panic.
Yes, exactly.
Well
observed. Fantastic observation. The moment he gets dropped for one game, his confidence goes down to the toilet, and then he's now become very unstable. That is so well observed. He's a very sensitive guy there, I think. But if you give him a long run, you don't substitute him, and he's stable until he meets Arsenal. Then it all goes downhill again. So then you bench him.
And you back him.
No, against Arsenal, you drop him.
I think
against Arsenal
you drop him, but I'm saying that, but you back him. So that's what I'm saying. This manager, if he's like, let me now give Jorgensen, Jorgensen is not a good shot stopper. Jorgensen is not making those saves that I've seen Sanchez making. Those saves that win you points, he's not making them. When it comes to getting the ball and kicking the ball and passing the ball, Jorgensen is like a midfielder. He can even play in midfield. But when it comes to doing the basics, like it is the final minute and this is a certain goal and Sanchez has saved. Have you seen the number of goals that Sanchez? You're coming out of the game and you're like, if it wasn't for Sanchez, we were losing this game. You've seen that a lot of times this season. Jorgensen is not making those saves.
But Jorgensen is improving. I think he's with the more game time he gets, the more I think I just see compared to remember that game against Aston Villa where he gifted remember the ball went through his legs, the one goal and the other one what was that? I can't remember. He made 2 bad errors against Aston Villa, lost us the game at Stamford Bridge there. And ever since then he was fighting uphill, but he's come back strong. When you had a game like that, normally it takes a long time to shake that to get rid of that bad smell. But I've been quietly impressed with the times Jorgensen's come in, because normally when you come in from the bench, you're not a regular first team player, especially as a goalkeeper. It's very, very hard. But he's to his advantage is that the Chelsea back four is always changing. You never know who's playing left back, you never know who's playing right back, you never know who's playing the central defense. So you don't have that stability like Arsenal has, or Liverpool, or Man City, where it's always the same 4 players. So they get some kind of rhythm with the goalkeeper. So when you have a stable defense, with a goalkeeper, everything becomes automatic. And they know exactly who's running where, and they know the core signs and all that. But if you have an always changing, always sort of like what do you call that when they rotating the back four? In my world, it doesn't really matter who the goalkeeper is because nobody knows it. Nobody. They're always, you don't know if it's Chalobah playing the one game or if it's Badiashile
And
or
also,
something.
that is one huge problem. Every single time is a new defense. Today it's Chalobah and Fofana. Tomorrow it's Chalobah and Tosin. The other day it's Tosin and Benwa. The other time it's Chalobah and Benwa. There's a lot of changing in the centre backs.
There you go.
And it's not like those centre backs are injured. No, it's just changing, and I don't know what's wrong with the medical team. And that is why I'm saying they are trying to handle the club like a stock market. It's not just going to it's not going to work. Look at Spurs. Spurs are going to go into a £1 billion debt. They have 800 million. 1 billion.
1 billion? You're serious?
Yeah, because if they drop from the Premier League, they lose close to 250 million.
Wow.
They lose TV money worth around 150 million. Then they lose sponsorships, and also since now they're in the Champions League, they make money, but now they will not be in any European competition, so they will lose close to 100 million. So they are losing close to 250 million. I've done a video on that. Again, they have an 800 million debt still to be paid for their stadium that they built.
So if you were, let me ask you a hypothetical question. If you were a Spurs fan, or put it this way, if Chelsea was in Spurs' shoes, okay, we were there, and I gave you a choice: win the Champions League but be relegated, or stay up in the Premier League but don't win the Champions League and lose in the final.
Yeah, I'd rather win the Champions League. Sky Bet! Champions League winners!
Oh, you okay? Because you only get this chance once in a lifetime, I suppose. So why not?
Oh my God! You carry that Champions League, they'll be laughing at you. The players will not go.
Of course
that is
not.
one thing. The players will not go. They will stay. They will stay because they have the Champions League. They'll just be like, we got a bad season and we got relegated, but they will stay.
Because
they'll be like, okay, let's work and get back to the Premier League. But they have the medals.
Because think about it. How often would you get that chance to be in a Champions League final, or to even get anywhere near winning? Because normally it's Real Madrid wins all the time. So as you said there, that chance comes along and said that choice, Sky Bet or the Champions League, we'll take it. We'll take the Champions League because the Sky Bet, you as you said, you'll keep your same team. You'll come back automatically. You probably even bring in new players because you're Champions League winners. So yeah, so that you could be back after one season back. You go back to the Championship and reset, buy new players, sell some old useless ones, and but you're still Champions League winners. And the Champions League winners, they qualify automatically for next season, not so? Or how's that work?
Yeah, they do qualify.
So you could be a Championship team. So you're a Sky Bet team playing in the Championship. Oh, wow. What kind of prestige would that give to the Sky Bet?
Actually, they do qualify. I think that season when we had... that season we won it.
Yeah.
Remember? We didn't finish in the top 4.
That's true. Yes, we were qualified, and who lost out? Was it Spurs or something lost out in the Champions League qualification? The one who came 4th or 5th. Somebody lost out. Who was that?
But it was not us. It was not us who finished. Did you finish in the top 4? No,
we finished.
We entered the Champions League.
But somebody lost out. One of the teams lost out. One was number 4. Who finished number 4 the one season? And they lost out the Champions League. They didn't get it. They didn't get it inside. I can't remember because the Champions League holders were Chelsea. So only 3 teams made it from the holders. And then who else? I can't remember who made it. Somebody lost out badly. I think it was Spurs. They should have been in Champions League the next season, but because of Chelsea were the defending champion.
Yeah.
So that is.
And actually,
But it's strange. You explain to me how Spurs can be so damn good in the Champions League, yet when it comes to the Premier League, they're absolutely terrible. How does that work? I don't
You
understand.
see, it's a knockout competition. It's a knockout competition. I also remember we were performing well in the Champions League with Porter. Lampard came in, and that's when we got knocked out. But when we were with Porter, we were well. We were well. I think we got to the quarterfinals. Yeah, we were in the quarterfinals. We were performing bad in the league, but in the Champions League, we were winning.
Is that because you can play the Champions League? You can play the Champions League with no pressure, unlike the Premier League. Every game is high pressure, high pressure.
Yeah. In the Champions League, and then a lot of players generally like to push themselves. Elba, you should have said something. I think it was Aston Villa. Yeah. I think it was Aston Villa. Yeah, he's saying that it was Aston Villa who missed out.
Why is Elba not in the chat? I thought you'd be here live, but
yeah. So I was looking at that PSG game. When I'm looking at it, and I'm like, start James and Gusto. Start both of them. Do not change it. I am now seeing the Joao Pedro you see, Joao Pedro has picked up form as we approach PSG.
yes,
and Cole Palmer.
Yes. Yes. And they're going to see when the PSG sees him, say, "Oh, not him again! Oh, fuck!" That's what they're going to think. They're going to have fear. This is when the fear factor, and they think, "Oh, my, that's a guy who terrorized us in America. Him again, shit." So they're going to have respect and fear. That is. But the question is, do we play defensively or attack like how Maresca did? How do you play?
4-2-3-1. Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah, Cucurella. You play Lavia and Caicedo in that midfield. Then you play Garnacho. I'll play Garnacho because there's space. Enzo and Palmer. And then I will play Joao Pedro. But if Estevao is there, I'm playing Estevao in the left.
Oh. Another one who's coming back to form is Palmer, slowly coming back to form. It's right on time.
Right on time. That's why I'm saying if Estevao is there, I'm starting him down the left. But if he's not there, I will play Garnacho. Why will I play Garnacho? Because there will be space. We need to constantly play those balls over the top. And I want both Caicedo and Lavia to start. There's a way in which Lavia calms the game. When when he's getting the ball, it's like time usually slows for him. Whenever he's getting he always have you ever seen the way Lavia plays? He always has a lot of time on the ball. I think it's because of his fast touch.
And he always passes the ball forward, never backwards.
Yeah, never backwards.
And that is what I like about him. Passing is always forward, never sideways, never backwards, always attack-minded for passing.
Even if he has an easy chance of playing the ball backwards, he will turn and play the ball forward.
So he's basically very confident in his first touch. He's got great vision. And I think this is why this is the difference between why they pay so much money for him, because he sees the game differently, he thinks differently, and he doesn't panic, calm under the ball. And unlike some other midfielders, when they get the ball, it's like the ball has got some kind of poison or something. I don't want it. I don't want the damn thing. Wait, how do I get rid of it? They're backwards. So, he plays the ball backwards, looks at the manager. I hope the manager, because they're so scared, think, really, come on, it's just football. Sometimes
and in football, you always have those players who always want to have the ball. And those ones another player who likes to get the ball a lot is Enzo. Enzo, even if the ball is not coming forward, he will drop deep and tell me, "Oh, you people are not moving this ball." He'll take the ball and then he will ping a pass. And then he will run now forward. He'll be like, "You guys are wasting my time here."
But you saw Enzo against Aston Villa, those two passes to open up the game. Oh my God. You think, okay, this is what
there were some fans who were discrediting Enzo. And I'm like, you guys, you don't know what you're watching. Enzo is very great. And one weakness that Enzo had when he came in the Premier League is that people were saying that he doesn't run a lot. I
Yeah,
don't think there is any player who runs more than Enzo in this team. Even Caicedo doesn't run more than him.
yeah, but he had no stamina. But his stamina has come during the time when he came. He had stamina, but he didn't have Premier League stamina. But that is developed. He's obviously come to match fitness, Premier League match fitness, and we can see now. I
After
mean,
3 years.
yeah, but you can
After
see
three
how.
seasons.
Yeah, but how many games does the guy play? He plays almost every single game, full 90 minutes. It's almost like they're trying to torture him or punish him or something, because that is normal. In that position he plays with all the running he does, you would think that at least today you got a break, along with
I,
Caicedo, along with Rhys James. Your boy, by the way, Jackson scored yesterday. Just to keep you up to date, and
he will
so
come. He'll come. He'll come. He'll come and take the lab's position.
that guy. Okay, I give him flowers for that goal where he bullied that in the midfield there, where he bullied the defender, got the ball, willpower, and he set up Garnacho. Remember for the first goal, Garnacho's first goal. That was all Delap. That first time I've seen him when he's got space to run. A bit like at Ipswich when he played for Ipswich. Remember, when he had that space. That's when he was dangerous. When he has space to run at full speed with the ball, he was deadly. But where we play, he's just not suited to that style of play there, where you have to have one touches, run, play in small spaces and what have you. He's just his quality is not good enough. But if you give him space to run at you, but be careful, because he does have a good shot, but sometimes sometimes I feel like he's half a second too slow to get rid of the ball, to pass it. That's half second, not a second, but just a half second. If he could learn to play the ball.
Or he overkicks the ball beyond the player making runs. Sometimes you need a
Yes.
carefully weighted pass. It's called carefully weighted pass.
Yes.
Sometimes he overcooks the pass. So it makes the player who was in a good position to score, now he has to go and chase the ball. So when he's getting the ball, the defenders are already back. I think those are one. And also, one thing about Delap, the runs he's making diagonal runs. And it's different from the way Joao Pedro is making runs to receive the ball in field so that he can look to effect change. You see, that's why even when you saw Joao Pedro getting the ball, he was running with the ball, and he saw space and he fired it and he knew he would score. Look at it. And also another thing about Delap is like he doesn't have a right foot. Joao Pedro, all foots are okay. If he gets the ball in the right position with his stronger right foot, he will score. If he gets it with the left, he will score. And I said this in the group that...
And he headed as well. He's very good at heading.
Yeah, he's very good also at heading. I said that since Diego Costa, Joao Pedro is the other best finisher that we've had. It has taken us 10 years.
But with this guy, Delap, I see in many ways similarities to Hato. So Hato, when he first came, he looked absolutely CRAP, lousy. And but he get a chance and he gets game time, game after game, and you look at him now, he's very, very good. And I think I see in many ways Delap the same. He needs a run of games where time and no pressure. And I think you will get the best out of him. But like how he's used now, where he gets a cameo appearance here, a cameo appearance there, 5 minutes there, and he's never gonna get that confidence. That remember when Joao Pedro was after the World Cup, he came back, and then he was injured, and then after the injuries he came back, he was absolutely lousy. But the manager kept playing him game after game after game after game, and then suddenly, bang, he found his form. And but
you see, the issue is you cannot rely on using players like that in the later stages of the season, because you need points. You need points. You can get away with this by giving him a run earlier on in the season, but now you need Joao Pedro. Now is the time you need Joao Pedro and Palma.
Yeah, the problem.
Carry you.
I agree with what you say, but the problem that you have is that in this later stage of the season, So let's just say, touch wood, a Pedro Joao gets injured. You're forced to play Mark Gui or Delap, but since you haven't given them any game time, they haven't had any time to sort of like find confidence, then you're really screwed because you don't have any striker with confidence who's had game time before, and that is that balancing act you make. Do you give them game time so that when you need them, they're there, or do you just rely on, okay, I have my ready-made tried and tested striker who's going to bang in 20 whatever goals for me this season, and you're gambling on the guy not getting injured. So that gamble you take. It's what you do. You're damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. Because you can't, if your striker, Joao Pedro, is banging in goals for fun, then you don't just drop him, you let him play. For many reasons, his ego, his goal tally, what have you, and all that. But if you just suddenly, you got to rest this game, you can destroy somebody's confidence. If somebody's in a good run, got good confidence, you can also be responsible for taking away his confidence. It's not easy being a PE teacher. There's many things you've got to think about, and plus other people deciding who you should pick, when you should pick them, when they should be substituted, all that stuff there. So a lot of decisions are made by other people other than you.
I think you've really touched on the key metrics and the influence that powerful forces like the medical team can actually have when it comes to actually squad selection. Now, Christian, as we now conclude this, what will be your conclusion about this game and what you expect in that PSG game?
This game was horrible. No atmosphere. It felt like one of those games under the coughing virus. Remember when they used to have the fake noise? The picking that heat was so annoying. The fake crowd noise there. I don't know how they made that work. But I don't see any people their crowds. How was they cheering coming? But it's obviously they were doing it. Was a bit like WWE, making the fake everything. But it was a hard watch. It was a crap team, crap football, crap everything, and we were lucky to escape with a win here. It would have been so humiliating and embarrassing to lose to Wrexham. But I think obviously this was the Chelsea B team, so it's hard to judge. We don't know what the lineup will be against PSG, but I don't think that I think we'll probably lose, but it won't be a humiliation against PSG. PSG will have to work very, very, very hard. So I don't think Chelsea out of that. As you say yourself, Chelsea, this is the alternative cup team. Play very well in cup competitions. And so PSG should not underestimate. Yes, they're a very good team. They're defending Champions League winners. But against Chelsea, this is a different gravy when it comes to cup games. So I am very... yes, I'll be watching underneath the blankets as always when it comes to these kind of games. But we shall watch, and I'll keep a positive attitude, mindset. I think they'll be okay, depending obviously on the lineup he chooses. But there's a lot of players finding form at the right time. You can throw into that mix there. You said Lavia has suddenly come back, and Caicedo I don't know if you saw against Aston Villa how good he was. If you look at his numbers and look at the amount of tackles and whatever, he's now finding top form. Finally, he's not been very good this season. And then the only issues we have is who's going to play right back. Is it going to be Reece James? Okay, if you play him there, do you then play Caicedo alongside Lavia or Caicedo alongside Santos? I like Santos. Santos has been a revelation. There's another one finding good form, Santos. So then you will have the big question up front. Obviously, Palmer and Joao Pedro. They selected themselves. And now another player also finding form, who I want to mention, is Garnachos. That's another one. I know all the Chelsea fans hate him, but you have to be giving him his flowers. He's now at the right time, right on the nick of time. Many players are finding form. So the PE teacher, as much as people disrespect him, there are some things he's doing. A lot of players suddenly are finding their form. So maybe we have to stop disrespecting him and give him his flowers as well, because he's doing something quite. Because unlike under Maresca, a lot of players were losing form. They were going downhill fast, and maybe that's another reason why he got his ass fired. Yeah, and not just because he was whatever he was saying, the press conference and all that. Maybe the actual form of the players, the mental form, physical form, was another reason why the board could see this ship is sinking and is sinking fast. Get rid of, and brought in a PE teacher. Probably had to fight to get the respect of the players, and now you can definitely see he has the respect of the players. It took some time, but there's something there. You know, if you look at sorry, I'm going on with my last point. If you look at the PE teacher, where he came from, from parts unknown, Strasbourg. Where did Maresca come from? He also came from the first division, Leicester City. What, Leicester City? A championship manager, you want to hire him for Chelsea? So they came basically from the same unknown, but Maresca did well at Chelsea. And PE teacher, don't write him off, not yet. So that is his next game. There, it'll make or break him. It'll make him. If he wins, then he's now become big time. He'll be amongst the big boys. But if he loses, he'll lose. Nobody's expecting anything. So he can't lose.
I think that is quite conclusive, and we're also looking to see whether he is able to step up against big teams. He has lost 3 games, and all those games he lost against Arsenal. So we'll try to go to see if he'll be able to match PSG, and if he has that mentality to actually put up a performance that warrants the score that he has on Tuesday. So thanks very much, Christian, for coming in today.
You're welcome.
It was good to catch up. Please.
Don't forget we have to. Don't forget we have to do a live. We have to do before you go. We have to do a Tottenham live. Don't forget that. So.
Yeah, I remember the one we talked with Isaac.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, I'm going to go.
Yeah. I think I will schedule that probably tomorrow. Then I'll hit you up. I'll also talk with Medi so he can prepare the start.
Cheers.
So, guys, thank you very much for joining us in this analysis, in this post-match review. If you've not subscribed, kindly subscribe. And also, we have a second channel called Talk Football TY Clips. Before we do the Tottenham Hotspur live stream, there's a video that I've just dropped on Tottenham Hotspur and why do I think that they may actually get relegated. So try and check that. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate you keeping your time and giving us your time. Thank you.